I'd like to call this special meeting of the University Heights City Council to order. Mrs. Thomas, will you call the roll?
Mr. Rath?
Here.
Mr. Weissman?
Here.
Mr. Sims?
Here.
Mrs. Pardee?
Here.
Mr. Ertl?
Here.
Mrs. Cameron?
Present.
Mrs. Weiss?
Here.
Okay, well, all those who are able, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is a special meeting. We will proceed immediately to the agenda items. First item on the agenda is resolution number 2019-32, adopting the 2020 alternative tax budget. This is on the second reading. Mr. Goff, do you have anything to say about this since the first reading?
No, there are no changes. Are there any questions, Council has?
Okay, I would note simply that it did go to Finance Committee for review and discussion, and that's happened. So
Yes.
it's back from committee, and we have it here now today. If there is no discussion, is there a motion?
So moved, Mayor, to adopt the alternative tax budget. Second.
Okay, does this have to be done with emergency because of the deadline?
It would probably be a good idea to do an emergency.
And-
That should not be, so that we don't make suspension of rules, but emergency would be useful.
Okay, very good.
On emergency.
All right, so we have a motion to adopt on emergency by Mrs. Purdy, and we have a second. Was that Mrs. Cameron, Mrs. Weiss?
Yeah, it was one of us. Yes, all emergency.
Okay, so we'll go with Mrs. Cameron as the second. Is there any discussion? Mrs. Thomas, we call the roll first on the suspension.
Mr. Rath?
Aye.
Mr. Weissman?
Aye.
Mr. Sims?
Aye.
Mrs. Pardee?
Aye.
Mr. Ertl?
Aye.
Mrs. Cameron? Aye. Mrs. Weiss?
Aye.
Okay, very good. Then on the main motion.
Mr. Rath?
Aye.
Mr. Weissman?
Aye.
Mr. Sims?
Aye.
Mrs. Pardee?
Aye.
Mr. Ertl?
Aye.
Mrs. Cameron? Aye. Mrs. Weiss?
Aye.
Okay, very good. Motion carries, and resolution is adopted. Next is resolution number 2019-37, a resolution of necessity for special assessments for the cost of constructing, maintaining, repairing, and cleaning of the city's sanitary sewer system on first reading and on emergency. Mr. Goff.
I will talk a little bit about resolutions 37, 38, and 39 together. They kind of are companion legislation.
Very good.
In the Finance Committee, we had extensively talked about all three resolutions. The draft was available for the committee to review. There were a couple of tweaks that the committee had requested that were done. We also talked about the tentative timeline that we need this summer for passage of not just of the resolution of necessity, but we then have to serve notice upon the owners of the parcels impacted by the special assessment. There is then an opportunity for the owners of those parcels to object. There would then be, if there are objections, council would then need to appoint a, let me make sure I get the term right here, a assessment equalization board to meet, and assessment equalization board would then make a recommendation to council that can either accept or reject. If council were to reject that, a new assessment equalization board would need to be appointed. After accepting anything come from the assessment equalization board, or if there are no objections, council later in the summer will be able to go through the last steps of legislation so that we can have the assessments put onto the tax filings for next year. The deadline for that will be in September. The rates that are stated for each parcel have not changed from what was done last year. Their individual parcels may have a change in their tax rate due to corrections of the process, what we've done in the past. At this point, I would leave it open to the law director if he has any additional comments, because some of this process has been guided by his guidance provided to me and there. If there are any questions, I do have the draft timeline that was given to the Finance Committee. I have a slightly updated one, and also reflects changes to July since things have firmed up a little bit in terms of the timeline. I know Finance Committee had requested that there be a letter sent out to each of the parcel owners requiring individual notification. That would be any parcels with an assessment over $250. Those are already prepared, and we are in the middle of getting those ready to be sent out by mostly certified mail tomorrow, and some of them might be in-person service. I have one of those letters available if council wants to see it as a sample. We also have to prepare a estimated assessment, which is basically a spreadsheet showing for each parcel how much their assessments will be. That is prepared right now. It's currently in draft format, pending the passage of the resolutions of necessity. That will be filed by myself with the clerk of council. That's required by the Ohio Revised Code. We'll have a copy on file. I have a copy of that available if council want to see that, as well as the first page is a handout if council will want that. Going beyond that, are there any questions that you guys have for me?
Thank you. I would like to see the letter, so if you have these things available, pass them. I would most appreciate it.
There's a pack of 3 items. They're separated by a legal item and a packet, so you just want to grab the legal page and everything in front of it, and pass it out. They're all the same.
Thank you. Oh, so there's 3.
There's 3 pages.
And again, to confirm, these assessment amount rates are the same as they have been.
Yes, the rates themselves are the same.
So there was no increase in rate.
Individual parcels may see a change due to correction of the process, but the actual stated rate per frontage or per sewer base unit is the same.
Thank you.
Very good, thank you, Mr. Goff. Thank you, Mrs. Hardy. Any further questions for Mr. Goff? Anything that anybody wants to add here on the?
We just have 1 second to read the letter.
Certainly, we can take the time to do that.
Around everybody.
Separated.
The separation is the legal size paper.
Did you make a copy for everyone?
There's a copy for everyone. So there should be 2 letter size pages, a legal size page, and then starts the next package.
I want to read them. So,
All right, there we go.
you can see more items.
Here you go.
So there's 2 letter size pages. One says tentative timeline, the other is on city letterhead, and then there's a legal size page. It's the front page.
Right.
For each one.
Are there more of these?
There are 10 copies.
There's only one that's made it past me.
Here's some right here.
Here's a packet. Here's a packet.
You're going to be in the letter.
Here's a packet. Everybody get a packet? I have a packet, but I don't see it. Since it's your own member of public hearing, I guess you've got a copy.
I'm just wondering if something should be said that there's no increase. Because if you're getting this, because most of these are commercial, right? There's no residential ones on it, right?
No, in terms of whoever's above that $250 threshold, there are no residential parcels. And actually, you'll see in the 3rd paragraph, the bold underlined line.
Change.
That whole paragraph discusses the rates.
I just wanted to make sure there was no residential, because we said that at the committee meeting, but just to double check.
No, there were only commercial properties that ended up in the list. I believe it was 16 for shade tree, 18 for street lighting, and then sewer capital, operating and capital is pushed smaller, but there's 137 for sewer total. But they all put numbers up.
How many of the letters did you determine you'll be sending out?
The letters?
Yes. How many
there's
property owners do we have?
137 parcels in total. The vast majority of those go to John Carroll University.
Thank you. The vast majority, do you have an exact count?
No, I do not have an exact number now.
Okay, thank you.
But I do believe it's probably in the ballpark of between the university itself and some of its affiliates, I believe 40 to maybe even 50. But it's the vast majority.
Okay, thank you.
When was the last time the rate was raised?
I do not know. Actually, no, we correct that. The sewer rate, I do not know. Last year, we did swap between street lighting and shade tree. We reduced shade tree by 10 cents
the difference between the sewer operating and the sewer capital?
So
This ordinance, is it comprehensive of both?
the resolution 2019-37 includes both the sewer operating and the sewer capital. The sewer operating is $64 per sewer base unit. Sewer capital is $14. Combined, it's the $78 rate. And just as indicating, and when filed with the county, they end up reporting back the collection between the two different operating versus capital, even two different funds that goes into.
Okay, so this ordinance is comprehensive of both of them?
Yes.
Okay.
You said there were 120 properties?
137.
137, so this page, the estimated assessments we have was page 1 of 120. That is more than the 137 properties.
That is all parcels, not just the ones.
All parcels in the city.
Yes.
So if you could just walk us through one of these things on this page, just to be honest, because basically not all of these are going to get this
No.
letter.
And anybody who has, whose assessments are less than $250, their notice of service of the passage of these resolutions tonight is performed by 2 weeks of posting in the newspaper. Anybody who is over $250 required to provide individual service to, who can be performed in one of 3 ways. Certified mail to their property tax billing address, certified mail to the last known billing address, or any process that is permitted for summons in a civil suit. And then if any of those parcels require individual service, we fail to serve them, the follow-up is then 1 week of notice by publication. So the list here, the spreadsheet in front of you, this is literally the first list of all of parcels. So in the case of like residential property, you see the parcel number on the left, you see the land use code. That land use code is coming from the county spreadsheets. And in the case of like a single family plotted lot, that would be 1 base unit for the sewer. Sewer is being based off of the sewer base units. Then you see frontage and square footage that come also off of the sewer, off of the county's property tax database. The shade trees and street lighting are paid based off of the frontage. The square footage is used for commercial properties, with the commercial properties being assessed 1 base unit for every 2,000 square feet of the parcel land, not of the building structure, but of the parcel land. And then in the case of apartment units that have 4 units or more, we're charging 1 base unit per apartment unit. And in this case, you see towards the bottom, parcel number 721-01145 is an apartment complex that, according to land use description from the county, is between 20 and 39 units. The actual number of units on that parcel is 84, and if I'm remembering, that one actually might have 2 buildings on the parcel. But that number of apartment units was gathered from primarily fire prevention, but the legislation says from fire prevention, housing, and building departments data. So that's how we are for large apartment buildings, determining the number of units. You then see on the far, kind of middle to the far right, you see each of the separate assessments. There's a column for the annual assessment. There's a column for the per installment, since each of the resolutions of necessity call for the assessments to be paid in 2 installments. And then at the very top, you have a summary total of the total amount annually and per installment for each of the proposed special assessments. And then the upper left-hand corner, you also see kind of a little summary of what resolution went with which assessment, and some calculation of numbers that show up in the resolutions themselves.
So what is the difference between what is happening and what is going to happen in terms of the assessments? In other words, this parcel we're looking at, 145, it doesn't have the old assessed amount versus the new.
I am going to be very careful of what I say here.
Well, stop a second. Is this something that we should go into executive session to talk about? Because I have more questions.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
can answer a couple more questions.
do that then. If you will, look away your motion.
Do you mind?
I didn't
try
make a
this.
motion.
Well, okay, well, then all right, well, there is no motion.
So,
Are
and
you-
this is really quick, I just want to confirm two things. That the only change in the timeline from what we saw in Finance Committee is it's moved up a week because our meeting tonight is up.
Yes, the tentative timeline called for the special council meeting to be called next Monday.
On the 8th, so.
And so
Okay.
several of the items that happened in July are bumped forward 1 week.
Okay. And the only other thing I wanted to clarify was for the average 40-foot frontage, one-family platted lot, it looks like the total tax amount is $138 across all assessments.
I would presume so, having not done the math.
All right, thank you. That's it.
One more item, I do want to, the finance committee had asked about, and I know Luke responded back, I don't know if I had sent out an email notifying the committee. In the event that a assessment equalization board is needed, the question had been whether or not council would appoint the members to that committee and set a date in advance, and I believe Luke's response was that yes, they could.
Yeah, as long as it complies with all the periods that are provided to the taxpayers.
I believe the big ones with that would be the window for them to object in the first place, following service, and that they have to be given at least 5 days notice, having received the notice by certified mail, 5 days, mailed 5 days before the hearing of the equalization board.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, very good, thank you. Is there a motion?
No.
Okay, very good. Is there further discussion or some other motion? Not that motion. Yes.
I just want to make sure. Bottom line is that the rates are not being increased over the last year.
The rates listed in the ordinances are not being changed over last year. Individual part of
That's good enough.
Well, wait a minute. I believe this is an executive session topic, and we should go and talk about this in executive session.
So I would move for an executive session.
I'll second.
The minutes should know that the reason for the executive session is potential litigation.
Okay.
There could be equalization or hearings on this.
So there's a motion on it.
There is a motion on the floor by Mr. Sims. Is there a second?
I second.
There is a second by Mrs. Carney. There's no discussion. Mrs. Thomas, will you call the roll?
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Mr. Wiseman?
Aye.
Mr. Sims?
Aye.
Mrs. Carney?
Aye.
Mr. Earl?
Aye.
Mrs. Cameron? Aye. Mrs. Wise?
Aye.
Okay, very good. We will break briefly then before we go into the executive session so that we can stop the recording and clear the gallery. So, you're welcome to stay outside and we can let you know when we're out. Very good, thank you. To return to regular session.
So
Second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Sims, second by Mr. Wiseman. Mrs. Thomas, will you call the roll?
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Mr. Wiseman?
Aye.
Mr. Sims?
Aye.
Mrs. Carney?
Aye.
Mr. Earl?
Aye.
Mrs. Cameron? Aye. Mrs. Wise?
Aye.
Very good, we're back in regular session. The item on the agenda still before us is item B, resolution number 2019-37. Is there any further discussion? Is there a motion?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2019-37 on emergency.
Very good. Then Mrs. Pardee, is there a second? Second. Motion by Mrs. Pardee, second by Mr. Rock. Is there any discussion? Mrs. Thomas, will you call the roll first on the suspension of rules?
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Mr. Wiseman?
Aye.
Mr. Sims?
Aye.
Mrs. Carney?
Aye.
Mr. Earl?
Aye.
Mrs. Cameron? Aye. Mrs. Wise?
Aye.
Very good. And then on the main motion?
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Mr. Wiseman?
Aye.
Mr. Sims?
Aye.
Mrs. Carney?
Aye.
Mr. Earl?
Aye.
Mrs. Cameron? Aye. Mrs. Wise?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item is item C, resolution number 2019-38, resolution of necessity for special assessments for the cost of planting, maintaining, trimming, and removing shade trees on first reading and on emergency. Mr. Bell.
This is just like with the other resolution you just voted on. It's just for the shade trees instead of sewer. And the rate is based on the frontage in front of the parcel. The frontage being coming from the county records, and it is at, I believe this is 70 cents. Mr. If I'm aware, it's in the resolution. Confirm that. Oh, there is a paper clip covering it up. Yeah, section 5 is 70 cents per frontage foot.
Which is also no increase.
Yes.
Very good. Any questions for Mr. Goff? Any additional questions for Mr. Goff? If there are none, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, this is on emergency requirement. Very good. Motion-
Second is on.
Very good. Motion by Mr. Sims, second by Mrs. Cameron. Is there any discussion on this motion? Seeing none, Mrs. Thomas, will you call the roll first on the suspension of rules?
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Mr. Weisman?
Aye.
Mr. Sims?
Aye.
Mrs. Pardee?
Aye.
Mr. Erdl?
Aye.
Mrs. Cameron? Aye. Mrs. Weiss? Aye.
Okay, very good. Now on the main motion.
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Mr. Weisman?
Aye.
Mr. Sims?
Aye.
Mrs. Pardee?
Aye.
Mr. Erdl?
Aye.
Mrs. Cameron? Aye. Mrs. Weiss? Aye.
Okay, motion carries. And the next is item D, resolution number 2019-39, resolution of necessity for special assessments for the cost of street lighting. This is on first reading and on emergency, Mr. Goff.
As with the shade tree, the street lighting is based upon the frontage, and it is 80 cents per frontage foot instead of 70 cents like the shade tree. And there's no increase in the rate.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Sims. Thank you, Mr. Goff. Are there any further questions? There are no further questions. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, and is the motion on emergency?
On emergency.
Very good. And the second is?
Yes.
Okay, super. Motion by Mr. Sims on emergency, second by Mr. Wiseman. Is there any discussion on this motion? Seeing none, Mrs. Thomas, will you call the roll first on the suspension of rules?
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Mr. Weisman?
Aye.
Mr. Sims?
Aye.
Mrs. Pardee?
Aye.
Mr. Erdl?
Aye.
Mrs. Cameron? Aye. Mrs. Weiss? Aye.
Okay, and then on the main motion.
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Mr. Weisman?
Aye.
Mr. Sims?
Aye.
Mrs. Pardee?
Aye.
Mr. Erdl?
Aye.
Mrs. Cameron? Aye. Mrs. Weiss?
Very good, motion carries. Next is item E, a motion to hold an executive session during this special meeting for the purpose of discussing personnel, legal, and/or real estate matters. There is a real estate matter I wish to discuss with you. And Mrs. Drucker, who's in Chicago at the moment, will be joining us by phone for the purposes of this discussion. So I would ask for a motion for to move to executive session for the purpose of discussing a real estate matter.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mrs. Cameron, second by Mr. Erdl. Mrs. Thomas, will you call the roll?
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Mr. Weisman?
Aye.
Mr. Sims?
Aye.
Mrs. Pardee?
Aye.
Mr. Erdl?
Aye.
Mrs. Cameron? Aye. Mrs. Weiss?
Okay, very good. We are now going back into executive session. We need to clear the gallery once more. You are, of course, welcome to stay as there is one more agenda item, but you'll have to be out in the hallway. Mr. Goff, if you would stay for this, I would appreciate that. Just
Just a moment.
Okay. All right, very good. Is there a motion to return to regular session?
I would like to make a motion that we return to regular session. Or that we end executive session.
Yes.
Second.
Very good. Motion by Mr. Sims, second by Mr. Wiseman. Mrs. Thomas, will you call the roll?
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Mr. Weisman?
Aye.
Mr. Sims?
Aye.
Mrs. Pardee?
Aye.
Mr. Erdl?
Aye.
Mrs. Cameron? Aye. Mrs. Weiss? Aye.
Okay, very good. We are back in regular session, and the next item on the agenda is item F, ordinance number 2019-40, authorizing the release of the lien of special assessments related to certain Cleveland-Cuyahoga County Port Authority special assessment / tax increment revenue bond series 2001, University of Heights, Ohio Public Parking Garage Project, and Cleveland-Cuyahoga County Port Authority subordinate tax increment revenue bond series 2001B, University of Heights, Ohio Public Parking Garage Project. This is on third reading and on emergency. This having been tabled previously, 10/15/18 and 11/5/18. Previously, it was marked as ordinance 2018-63. It's been renumbered this year as 2019-40. So
cable or?
No, I think it's on.
It's
the agenda,
live.
So,
It's live, but let's
Okay,
make the motion on emergency and we'll vote to suspend.
okay. I move approval of ordinance number 2019-40, authorizing the release of the lien of special assessments relating to certain Cleveland Cuyahoga County Port Authority special assessment tax increment revenue bond series 2001 on emergency.
Okay, et cetera, on emergency. Is there a second? Second. Okay. Is there any discussion? Mr. White?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It has been a long, winding road with these particular items. I'd just like to thank the administration and the various officers who have worked on this for their diligence and persistence and counsel with us and helping walk us through this. There are a lot of moving parts to this, and I'm just glad for the guidance that we have from the administration. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Weisman. Is there anything further, any further comments? Okay, if nothing further, then we will take it to vote. Mrs. Thomas first on the suspension of the rules.
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Mr. Weisman?
Aye.
Mr. Sims?
Aye.
Mrs. Pardee?
Aye.
Mr. Erdl?
Aye.
Mrs. Cameron? Aye. Mrs. Weiss?
Aye.
Okay, and then on the main motion.
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Mr. Weisman?
Aye.
Mr. Sims?
Aye.
Mrs. Pardee?
Aye.
Mr. Erdl?
Aye.
Mrs. Cameron?
Aye.
Mrs. Weiss?
Very good, motion carries. The payment released. We are at the end of our regular agenda with no items further on the agenda. The next item that would be in order would be a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mrs. Cameron, second by Mr. Weisman. We got within a half hour of our 7:15 call. It's pretty good, and we're within a half hour of when they're going to kick us out.
Yeah.
So, very good. Mrs. Thomas, we call the roll.
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Mr. Weisman?
Aye.
Mr. Sims?
Aye.
Mrs. Pardee?
Aye.
Mr. Erdl?
Aye.
Mrs. Cameron? Aye. Mrs. Weiss?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
I got a flag.
Congratulations.
Quick item that's payroll related for all
Yes.
council members.
Okay, thank you.
We're off the record, right?
Yeah, we're off. The payroll that's coming out tomorrow in your bank account